I like being calmed down by drugs. I don't like being.
Maybe it'll calm you.
Maybe it'll calm me.
It could.
Yeah, I heard.
It probably won't.
Do you ever do the microdose?
Yeah, and it's not a calming effect. It's very energizing, at least in my limited experience. I still think being sober is probably like the best thing. It is.
Yeah, I stopped drinking for a few weeks there up until a couple days ago.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Why did you get back on the sauce?
I don't know. I don't know. Why does anybody drink? Why?
I know why I drink.
You do?
Yeah.
Calms you down?
No, it tastes so good, and I'm so fascinated by the fact that you can like put stuff in water and then I don't even care about getting drunk. That's the least. I don't even like getting drunk. The buzz is even not into it, but like beer just is the most fascinating thing to me.
Huh.
Yeah, it's delicious.
You like ale?
Yes.
I like wheat beer. That's my thing.
Okay.
I don't know why. I guess that's...
Well, same reason ale is my thing.
Yeah, my girlfriend drinks IPA.
Mm-hmm.
I like wheat beer. I like a good Weisse Trappist ale.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe like a Belgian. You're like a Belgian beer guy,
yeah,
like German.
I think it might be the German.
Yeah,
it might be the in my DNA.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was just at the Highland Park Brewery the other night. They have a really good.
Have I been there? I think I've been there. Yeah,
and yeah, it's a cool place. Good food.
That's what they have the barbecue out front. Or am I thinking of somewhere else?
They don't have a barbecue out front. It's in Highland Park. It's on York. It's, in that
Oh, no, I'm thinking of a different strip. I'm thinking of a different spot.
They have a location downtown as well, Chinatown. Yeah, beer is the most, I don't know, just fascinating to me. There's actually, I think there's too many beers now. It's hard to make a decision. And everything's pretty good, so it's really hard to find anything that's like extraordinary. Although this Pilsner at the Highland Park Brewery I forget the name, but it's a hoppy Pilsner. It's fantastic. It's really good.
Try the Pilsner.
Yeah,
go there and try the Pilsner.
Yeah.
So when I think of, that's a lager. All the big beers are lager, right? Like Budweiser and
Pilsner. That's Pilsner.
That's Pilsner.
Yeah. So there's like two types of
Which is a type of lager, right?
Yes, I think so.
Pilsner is a type of lager. Yeah.
Yeah. And it all has to do with the type of yeast and the temperature at which you brew the beer. Ales, there's like either a top fermenting yeast or a bottom fermenting yeast, and that's like literally where it sits in the liquid. I think.
So that's really why you drink, is just because you like beer. I think you just like it. You like everything about it.
Yeah. If there was a non-alcoholic beer that tasted as good, I'd probably would drink those.
What about, do you fuck with the growler? Get the growler, and
I don't do the growler.
Yeah, I had a friend who did that.
You gotta be really into it, like brewery lifestyle. And I'm not. I'm like more of a, convenience store, grocery store, like grab a 6-pack with cool colors on it and take it home. And
my mom lives up in Sonoma County, where, some of the best beer. Arguably, it's not. That's not my opinion, right? But there's what is it? Pliny the Younger. Is that Lagunitas? Is it Lagunitas?
No,
it's fucking
Russian River.
Russian River. Yeah, so that's right there in where she lives.
Yeah,
and I remember they do that like yearly release of Pliny the Elder, and I remember driving by it one day.
Sure.
And there was a line just around the block at Russian River.
Yeah.
And so I was beer lifestyle people with like flip flops and.
There's a brewery in Frogtown. That just reminded me of like flip flops. Like I feel like I'm walking into Chicago because it's just the most like if Pinterest published a list of like the checklist of what you need if you're gonna open a brewery, like a microbrewery, like you need to have these things, and like this Frogtown Brewery has checked every single box, and there's zero character to the place. Beer's fine. I mean, the beer's good. It's not bad. It's totally fine, but it's, like exposed beams and corrugated steel and, plywood and keg tables. And it's just like, okay, I can see why the residents of Frogtown would be pissed. This is just it's just a thing that white people like. And, perfect place to take your parents when they come visit the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll feel very like safe. And
there's a Venn diagram, it just occurred to me, of like beer culture and maybe like kind of fratty culture.
Sure. Yeah.
There's an intersection there, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Or, or beards, like beards, bearded. I think that's a good thing to have if you're into beer, is a giant beard. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, but I like it.
So what's this you got here?
Oh, I mean, this isn't even something I'd necessarily want to like broadcast to the world that I like, because it's not, it's not a cool, it's not like an super indie beer brewery.
But they make the watermelon beer.
Ballast Point. This is Ballast Point. I don't think they make the water. That's like 21st Amendment. That's a Philadelphia.
I'm pretty sure that they have
a watermelon. Hell or High Watermelon.
Yeah, that's 21st. With the Golden Gate Bridge on it.
Yeah. I think it's like a Philly brewery, but that beer is
looks
good.
Similar. Yeah, it looks similar.
And this is the Mango Even Keel, which I'm not super into fruit.
Oh,
beers.
That's a fruity too?
Yeah, but I think this one is so crisp and delicious. I do love it. It's not obnoxiously fruity. A lot of
it's kind of got a Caribbean vibe.
Yeah, and
like
you know
pirate,
what? It does. It has this like
Central American.
I don't like the can. So Ballast Point has they have like all the Sculpin beers. You've probably seen like Sculpin. They have and this is actually an interesting. I mean, you're a graphic designer, right? You do some graphic design. I've seen your work.
I can, yeah.
So they have a pretty consistent design to the cans, to the bottle labels, to everything. But this is the one beer of theirs that strays from that design. And I'm curious why this is the one can or style of beer that they've decided to like
maybe
abandon.
They're trying to merge into the Hell or High Watermelons market.
Might be.
Yeah.
Might be.
They're trying it out. They're like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
With these graphics.
Speaking, yes, like Miller Lite. I'll drink Miller Lite. If I'm going to drink cheap, like Pilsner beer, I get Miller Lite, and I get it because I like the can.
Yeah.
Because it's that cool, it's a cool can. It's a cool looking can.
Yeah. They make them, they kind of retro ones now.
Yeah. So that's like a whole segment of beers that's you're not drinking it based on quality of the product. You're drinking it based on like a nostalgic feeling. So you probably drink the same crappy beer that your father drank.
The halo effect. The halo effect of beer.
The halo.
When the brand is established so much that you're only reaching for it because it's the brand, because it's Miller.
There we go. Yeah.
That's because it's Miller time.
It's Miller time. And it's usually Miller time. Like, it's almost always Miller time for me. I'm
trying to think of what else people do that with. I don't know.
Probably
Nikes,
Apple products. I mean, people get Apple products because they're just like, why would I get anything
so much
else?
Stuff, I bet.
Yeah, Nikes probably. Maybe anything with like a good
Nike.
Brand, strong brand.
So you're still at the Pantages, or it's the Fonda?
Occasionally, yeah. I was there yesterday, but it's been a while. I mean, it like comes and goes. They don't. It's not consistent as far as shows. And then it's kind of one of those things that if you start turning gigs down, then whoever's, in the flow, they get the gigs, and then maybe they have to take a break, and so you get called in, and then you're in it for a while until you turn down gigs, and then
is management your full-time thing?
Artist management?
Yeah.
No, I'm completely done.
You're done.
I'm done. I mean, I'm not complete. I'm officially done. I don't want to manage, and now that I look back on it, even though I've been done for a few weeks, like I'm just like, I cannot believe I did that. Like it just seems such a, I don't know. It just seems like such a crazy endeavor. Just crazy. Like you just got to be a hustler. And hustling's cool, but it's a lot of work if you're not passionate about what you're hustling,
Yeah.
And I always managed independent artists. I managed 4 artists, technically, I guess. The first one was many, many, many years ago, and I didn't know what I was doing. And the group was not like, they weren't pumping out a lot of content. So it's hard to go. I mean, if you're doing business, doesn't matter if it's music or anything, like you're going to do a business deal, right? And if we're going to do a business deal, then that means you have something I want and I have something you want, and we're going to leverage those things so that we both elevate our business. We grow, So if you're not, it's hard to have conversations with people if you don't have new content out, or you're not working on some project, or there's not like a collaboration or something. So if you're closed off, it's just, there's not a lot of things to talk to people about, and I'm not like a super social person. So just going out and being in the mix and talking about what's happening now, and I'm just not interested in doing that. It's not fun to me, so I'm not good at it. But I was always like, with the management stuff, I was always good at the sort of like administrative side of it, which would really be like all the stuff that maybe a label was doing. But being that I was managing independent artists, I was also essentially running the label as well. So I would tend to do those things because I could make a checklist, a to-do list, and then I could work my way through the to-do list. And that was rewarding to me. So that's what I tended to just focus on. And there's just a lot of little things because there's so many little pennies to collect in music. So I spent a lot of time like going back and sort of like registering or setting up things that had been neglected. And the longer they get neglected, it's the more stuff you have to go through and do. And then I guess another big part of what you're doing is like elevating, you want to elevate the artist's career. And so you elevate an artist's career by having connections or being savvy enough to, get in the room with the right people. But then again, it goes back to like, what am I bringing to the table? What am I offering them? Because nobody, it's like we were saying, people in the music industry, just like any other industry, we want to make money the easiest way we know how, and the most enjoyable way we know how. When we find that lane that we fit into, we want to just keep doing that, because like I want to have, my work is my work, I make my money, and then I go off and I live my life and I take like weekend trips with my girlfriend and whatever, so people aren't really like, I think it's naive to think that anyone in the music industry is doing it because they're so passionate about music. That's just not, I just don't believe that's the case. People got into it because they were passionate, but then they get like jaded. Yeah.
You figure out a way to make it normal.
Yeah. Normal, easy, stable or consistent, I guess is probably the word. And you know, it's like we were talking about. You have these like a Tekashi 69 or whatever. Like, you know, to me, it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick, and it's just like when bands were getting signed off of, you know, MySpace numbers, and that's still happening. You know, like artists are getting record deals based off of Instagram follower accounts, and that's far more important to a record label than quality of music. But I get that. They're investing money into something, and they want a return on their investment. They're in the music business. It's not the music, you know, charity. It's the music business, you know. And it's not just music. It's any art industry. It's really any industry. You're putting money in, and you want to get more money out. And you know, with social media, it's easy to gather analytics. With Spotify and everything now, it's easy to gather analytics, and then you can comb through data, and you can determine what has the most marketability and the most profitability. That has nothing to do with the quality of the song.
Right, but any you know, manager, if they had a budget, could pay for any of those metrics.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
And people do. You know, I read some article about a guy, it's exactly what he did. It's like a British manager who owned a label, and he said that they spent like $15,000 in credit on Facebook advertising, and then signed with I want to say 300 Entertainment or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess it's just a means to, it's like what the goal, right? The goal is for a mutually beneficial like business arrangement, and to get more money out than you put in.
Yeah.
So whether that be by breaking an artist, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the key word you said is goal. You have to have a goal. You can change your goals at any point in time, but you have to know where you have to know a general direction that you're headed in. Because if you don't do that, you're wandering lost. And that's not sustainable. You know, it's just not sustainable. And if your goal is to dye your hair and get face tattoos and be insane, then go do that, you know, and you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid a ton of money. People want to see that. They want to, you know, scroll through their newsfeed and see the zany thing you've done. They don't care about your song. Like, they don't care. It's just a marketing tool, you know. I remember like going into a meeting with a president of a major, you know, one of the major labels, and him saying to us like, you know, I love your music. You remind me of my favorite artist. I love your music, but I don't know what to do with you. You know, you give me like a 21 Savage, I know what to do with that. I know how to plug that in. But you, I just don't know what to do. And that's really sad when you have, and then he went on to tell a story about how they were at some like, you know, Grammy party, and all these heads of the labels were sitting there like moaning to each other about how they can't sign anything they like anymore. And I'm just like, I have zero sympathy for you, because you're all, again, it goes back to that streetlight thing where like you're all just choosing to do nothing about it because you ultimately want to put in the least amount of effort and get the largest return possible.
Yeah.
So you all have the power to say, look, let's just stop signing trash and let's sign stuff that we think is honestly good. People are going to listen to whatever you give them. The masses, whatever you put on the radio, people are going to like. That's how it is. I mean, you know, you have people that are early adopters that are a bit more, you know, critical. But to reach the masses and become a superstar, you just need to make the same thing over and over again. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Drake. I think he's got some cool songs, but I think he's the king of just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But why not? You know, the dude is like super successful and making a ton of money.
Yeah.
And you know, is he happy? He's probably happy. I mean, is he fulfilled artistically? I have no idea.
It might not be that important to him.
May not be that important. And who am I to even judge or care? You know, like he's found his thing and he's going to do it until it doesn't work anymore. And then we'll see if he reinvents himself or we'll see if he goes on and does something else. Doesn't matter. But like, you know, I don't know.
A lot of times when I think of like management or breaking artists or like pushing a music career forward, which is something that I think about because I work in music.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll think in terms of what artists have done things that I want to do that I've seen happen, like not read about or that happened before that I've actually seen. Like we both, I don't know if you were paying attention, but saw Drake, you know, get famous.
Yeah.
Right. And get to the point where he's at now. I mean, that happened like while I was watching it happen.
Yeah.
Step by step. And it's not, I mean, you can see like from doing that first mixtape and then getting like a big artist like Lil Wayne to do a verse on one of the songs, having a really talented engineer and producer already, and then basically getting, you know, what's now like the Drake career stimulus package, but he got that from Lil Wayne, like he got a cosign, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a formula right there.
Totally.
Like get a cosign from a big artist, put them on your mixtape, make sure there's, you know, it's good enough.
Yeah.
But you see that, I've seen that, well, I don't know, maybe 4 times where.
I think The Weeknd is kind of like that too.
The Weeknd, yeah, we saw that happen. I remember watching Mike Posner from when he was putting videos on Vimeo from college to, you know, he's on the cover of Billboard or whatever it is. That to me, it's like, well, there's his formula. I'm not a huge fan of any of these people, you know. Yeah. But that's besides the point.
They did it.
But it's like, okay, so he's making, I mean, things were less social media heavy then, but, you know, he's like making videos himself, producing in his dorm room. And then he's like kind of touring relentlessly. And a lot of times these people have experienced management before the fact anyways.
Yeah.
Or money, or like, you know, well, connections.
Yeah.
I mean, because even in the first Drake mixtape, he's rapping about how his Rolls Royce is rented and he doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
From acting on the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Is it really all social media now? Because I remember when like Odd Future blew up.
Yeah.
They put out a really good video and then they did a Jimmy Fallon appearance like the same week.
Yeah.
And like that was totally the breaking point. You could see it. Like you could just watch it happen in front of your eyes like, wow, this group just broke. And that wasn't based on social media, but that had to have been 6 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it isn't all social media. I mean, you can't
or Krayshawn too.
Yeah.
She didn't play a single live show before she signed a $2 million contract. It was all based on that video.
Yeah.
7 years ago.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. That makes me think, like, I'd be curious to see, like, you know, if you get a $2 million contract, maybe that's all the money you'll ever make in your lifetime from music. It's totally possible and not even that far-fetched to be a professional musician. It's completely like, you know, Jameson it really to me is like is far more than Chance the Rapper, like the example of a self-made professional musician. I mean, he worked at it for years and he owns a house, you know, a modest home with a studio. And that's amazing. It's just not, and again, you know, maybe, and I'm not saying this, that I I wasn't a good manager. I was good at some things, but I'm, you know, if I would still be managing if I was a good manager. But, you know, if you do all the administrative stuff to get all those pennies, and the artist is creating content consistently. I mean, that's what it probably comes down to the most is content and having social media is just a means to distribute that content. It's maybe you need to have maybe, and the other thing too is there is no formula. There's a formula that works for one person. It doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. So you need to make either a little bit of really great content, or you need to make a lot of just entertaining content that doesn't get stale and annoying. You've got to find that content cadence that works for you. But then it goes back to the goal. I don't know. I guess I like to think that there was probably, I don't believe that, an Odd Future blew up from, a video and a TV performance, because they didn't get on TV without probably a publicist or a management. That
missing part of that is their manager was Paul Barman's assistant, who was Eminem's manager, the entire Slim Shady LP.
Sure.
For however long, probably still is now. So somehow they got, they had Christian Clancy.
Yep.
Right. So he knew the ropes long before the game started. Nobody's saying, we like your mixtape, we want to put you on Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
That's not
or they're probably saying, hey, we like your mixtape, we want to put you on Jimmy Fallon, but hey, I want you to sign this deal with me to make more music, and I'm going to take a cut of that. I mean, no one's hooking anybody up for free unless...
Right. Well, I'm saying that conversation was like, hey, this is Christian Clancy. I've been doing this longer than you have. I want my artist on Jimmy Fallon.
Totally. I mean, even it may not even be like, hey, this is Christian Clancy. It's like, he just knows the person to call. Who do you call to get on Jimmy Fallon?
Right.
Yeah, I don't have their phone number to call them and even ask.
The MD, whoever that is.
Yeah, and that's like a thing when I first started managing, because my background is tour management, and so a big reason why I wasn't super effective on the networking side of things is I spent all my time touring. I never interned at a label or worked at a label or worked at a management company, or, I just don't have a network of people in the industry. It's all the touring side. But yeah. I mean, that's like, I guess when I merged into management, I assumed there was some sort of like secret knowledge that I lacked. There was something that everybody else knew. And then I, over time realized like there is no knowledge. It's just, it's networking. It really, it comes down to networking, and the music industry reminds me a lot of being in high school, and, you have the cool kids table, and the cool kids table is full of the coolest kids. And, it kind of goes back to the whole like capitalism discussion where like the cool kids are trying their best to keep anyone away from the cool table because they don't necessarily know why they're at the cool table. They're just really happy to be there and they don't want to leave it. So, it takes anyone can manage. It's just going to be like, hours and hours and years of countless cold emails to people that are not going to get returned. And then over time, as you're in it, you're going to get to the point where you start receiving emails and you can't return them because you're getting too many emails, which was an interesting...
Cold emails to, this is kind of a tangent, but to like booking managers.
Yeah, press or, trying to get on a show or, just trying to get anything, trying to get anyone to listen to the music to give you an opportunity, but then again, all those people that you're emailing are already connected. And so they are now receiving a whole array of emails, and some of them are offering money. Most aren't. So you're not gonna, your email is, if you're not offering some sort of monetary benefit to them, you're so far down the priority list. And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So then if you don't want to put in the time to build the network yourself, then you've got to figure out a way to get that network or get access to that network. And if you want the shortcut, you're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to give up some things. You're going to have to give up a part of something to make it worthwhile to somebody.
Yeah, the two like videos that I've put out that were, one of them, the first one I sent to like maybe 3 places. I emailed it to maybe 3 places. And one of them, like a popular blog, put it up, and it was like 30,000 views or something just from that blog.
Yeah.
The second one, I tried a different approach, and you can get, I forget what they call it, but there's a name for it, and it's that registry of every single A&R's email.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You can pay for it now. It used to be in the back of...
Was it like Music Connect or something like that? Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd pay, it was like $80, and it was like maybe 150, 200 emails that I selected out, and I sent it out to everybody. I mean, the views still got high based on the previous video.
Yeah.
But I got maybe like, I think 2 replies.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted to put it on.
Yeah. Well, why would they?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's good? No, that doesn't matter. And you think, if you're a music blog or an online magazine, like you need people to click, you need people to visit, you need people to you're baiting them on social media to try to pull them in, and you need to keep them on your website because you're making money off of advertising. So I don't know if you receive 2 songs and one is one is crap, but it's from some super hot, face tattooed rapper, and the other's from some white guy that's a great song, you're probably going to go with the zany face tattoo song because people are going to click on your thing and visit your site. And that's, I don't know, it just is what it is. It's nothing to get frustrated about because it's, I don't know. I sort of came up with this, I don't know what you call this, like just a philosophy or something, but if you want to do music, and if you want to do business, and if you want to do music business. So it kind of goes back to the whole thing of having a goal. If you want to just make art, then don't be frustrated that things aren't popping on the music business front because you're not doing music business. You're doing totally. Music. You can't be frustrated that you're not achieving a goal if that's not a goal.
That's really naive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really,
if you want to do art, then be content with the fact that you're going to be underappreciated or not appreciated at all, and you may not receive $1 for it, but you should be personally satisfied with the art that you're creating, hopefully, Yeah,
that's one thing that I learned from working in the big, large format studio where I started out in San Francisco is there's huge swaths of the business end of this that you have no idea exist. To think that if you just think that you're gonna, if your goal is to make art, and that you're wondering why, that's not the entire recipe.
Yeah, well, don't expect to be getting paid because nobody needs art. You need food and clothing and shelter and water and whatever, but you don't need art. People are willing to pay for it. Even in hard economic times, people still will pay to be entertained. But you shouldn't just don't expect a single dollar from it because I don't know.
No, yeah,
that's not the point of art, right? I guess it's not. You don't make art to get paid for it. You make art because you're trying to express yourself, or you're trying to express some idea, and hopefully that creates some sort of dialogue, from the people who experience it. That as far as I understand it and believe it, that's the point of art. It nowhere in that definition does it say, this is a thing you make in order to get paid.
So what about the 3 other artists you managed before Jameson anything there? What was it? I remember you said it. There was a country artist in there.
Yeah. I managed a country artist from back home, and you know, I still believe that like Jameson probably has like the best work ethic out of anybody who's doing music, and I think everybody else that I managed has had like some of those characteristics, you know. And so this country artist, for example, the guy, I mean, he played like 250 shows a year and had been doing that for a long time. And he had, prior to my working with him, he had some modest success, but he did not have management that was looking at what's next. I mean, you going back to the whole Odd Future thing. I mean, that's a very calculated strategy. We're gonna put out this video, and then we're gonna go do Jimmy Fallon, and then we're gonna do this, and you're using all these things to like build up to the big break, the tipping point.
He's really good. And then they made all their money selling socks.
Yeah, and that's the whole name of the game, is to sell people consumer goods. I mean, that's now that's what I'm focusing on 100%.
Yeah.
But
so were you like, I don't know, work just the guy at every show, or you were working at a radio station, or how do you play music?
Well, I played music, but that was never like I was always interested in music. I just you know, I don't know, like the first concert I went to, I just wanted to be a roadie. Like I just thought the roadies were the coolest dudes. I didn't really ever want to be on stage. I played in a band. I mean, we were, it was silly high school stuff. It was fun. I loved it. But like the whole idea of putting on a show and not really being recognized for it or something, and, you know, getting to like have the benefits of being on tour, but not having to be the guy, you know, in the spotlight.
Remembering lyrics.
Yeah, I thought that was the coolest thing. And you know, then I came out to LA and sort of fell into it, you know, like accidentally fell into it. And then, you know, once you kind of get out on the first tour, I think they all sort of, as long as you're hardworking and you're pleasant to be around, like people want you to come out on the road, because, you know, the road is a terrible place to be with awful people, you know. Yeah, and so I did the tour management, and just maybe like naturally like an organized person that, you know, anytime we'd take a trip or something, like I'm always the guy who I need to know what's going on, like what's the plan, where are we staying, and
right.
You know, so all that stuff just came naturally, but yeah. And then people would say, oh, I think you're probably going to manage someday. And I was like, well, yeah, maybe, I guess. You know, this first band I tried, and I didn't know what I was doing, and they weren't you know, again, like I wasn't creating enough content. So it was just hard to like have conversations or show people, because you know, you're just showing people. Maybe it's like local blogs, like, hey, check out this new video we did, check out this new song. But then once that content dries up, there's no, why am I hitting them up? What do I have to talk to them about?
They look at the date on that YouTube video.
Exactly. You know, and then the country guy I managed, he had his thing, but he didn't have management in place to like set up the next thing to like build off of that. So he just kept touring, and then not putting out any content, you know. So that, you know, that's really frustrating for a manager when there's no content, or there's just no, you know, a manager is really, I guess, maybe like, you can't make something out of nothing. I don't know. And then I've been helping this other newer artist. She goes by Miss World.
You sent that to me.
She's put out a new video today, and she's really cool too, because she, you know, like Jameson, she, you know, directs and edits her videos and writes her songs and records them, and like very productive artists, you know, pumping out a lot of content. And when you're I don't know, when you're trying to make a name for yourself, you've got to utilize social media to distribute you should be using social media to the fullest extent because it's there and it's mostly free to use. Yeah. And if you aren't doing it, then no one is finding out about your stuff. I mean, I mean, you're anytime you post something, you're gonna reach a fraction of your social media audience. So if you're not consistently working to grow that audience, you're not reaching any more people than you reached last time, and you'll lose fans more than you'll gain fans if you're not actively pursuing new fans. Like.
Right.
And you also have to think you're not releasing music in a vacuum, like everyone else is dropping songs too. So like any average consumer is just, I don't know.
But the cost of entry though is so low on social media that it also, it really seems kind of, I don't want to say unprofessional, but it's like kind of.
But it is.
It
is.
To be just.
It is.
Because then you're going into different territories than being a musician, because there's people that are just famous for their Instagram accounts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can try that, but it's not your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think go ahead.
One thing I always wondered about Jameson was like, you guys play these big shows, like international, all the time. Like it seems like that why is it not focused more on like getting famous in the US or playing even bigger shows in the US, or maybe doing like a TV appearance rather than having fans globally? Is that just that just a product of you having so much tour management experience? That's the strength?
No, I mean, I think we just did what made us money to continue to just live another day, And so if somebody offers you money to come to it, there was not a conscious effort to focus on international markets. That was not at all it was, you're trying to you're throwing darts at the wall and seeing what sticks. And, you go wherever somebody is dangling money in front of you. So it wasn't, I mean, we would have loved to, or, I guess I can't speak on his behalf, but I mean, I would have loved to be so famous in the US and never leave, that's fine. But it's so competitive in the States. And it's also not, I think once you go international, you're judged more on the quality of your art and less on the hype or, the BS around you.
And the touring is kind of a meal ticket. It's a sure.
Yeah, I mean, but even international touring is not.
He bought a house off tours?
No. It's not buying a house off tours. It's not that. It's all of those little pennies. It's just as much streaming revenue as it is, merchandise sales or show guarantees. I mean, the first, I don't know if we ever really were like super profitable, if at all, from touring Europe. I mean, you're not guaranteed. Really, the only places that you can tour and be guaranteed money is like Australia and Asia, because it's such an effort to get bands to come out there that you're guaranteed X amount and your expenses are covered. But Europe is not hurting for touring musicians, so they're not providing you with these like amazing deals to come tour. I mean, we lost our butts on touring Europe several times before we ever broke even doing it. I mean, that was a sacrifice to make that a viable, profitable touring market. You have to, I don't know. It's really, that just makes me think of like how frustrating it was to find openers to come out on tour, because people are like, oh, I just don't think we're going to make any money. Yeah, of course you're not going to make any money. We didn't make money the first however many tours we did, but people are very privileged now, like, because it's so easy to make music, it's so easy to distribute your music, that people don't want to go, into the hole hitting the road to, build a fan base that, I mean, those are the people that buy your socks. The people that buy your socks are the ones that like saw you perform in a basement or whatever at some place. They're your fans for life. But most artists won't realize that because they've never gone and done that, and
that's a good point.
I don't know, especially if you want to do it independent, there's just no shortcut.
Why not open up for an even bigger act?
It's just easier said than done. Everyone's trying to open up for everyone bigger.
Really?
I mean, we submitted to tours, but again, that's, you've got to build a case. Why should we bring you out, not this person? We want to sell out venues. We're going to get a bonus when we sell out venues. So I'm going to take the person who I think is going to sell more tickets. I may like your music more, but I want to hit that bonus because that's how I'm going to be profitable on this tour.
I saw a Fantagram at the cemetery maybe 2 or 3 years ago. They had a Tobacco open up for him. I thought that was such a cool opener. I can't imagine that it's every case where, is it really that competitive? I mean, because if you know another artist, you know their little crew, isn't it just kind of like, hey, can we do it?
Yeah, but a show like a cemetery, there's not, I mean, I don't know how those deals are structured, but I'm guessing there's not like necessarily I don't know if there's like a sellout bonus, so, those are events where it's like,
I don't know
let's
that much about their career, about Fantagram's career.
Yeah.
I just know that somewhere along the line, they did get big.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know much about that band either. I mean, I feel like that's a band that's kind of like flown fairly under the radar, but I assume they're like fairly successful. Like, and I guess that means I'm saying that like financially.
Yeah, no, they had a breaking point at some point where but
they're not like in your face. I'm sure that it's a group that can tour the world, and they're probably profitable everywhere they tour at this point, and that's an amazing place to be. But I bet they were not always that way, Yeah, I don't know. I think it's also important to keep in mind like the amount of bands that don't make it. Like there's so many. Like failure in the music industry is the norm. Success is extremely, extremely rare.
Yeah.
So, maybe I guess you want to focus on like, or maybe it's just as important to learn like or study why some artists fail. Just as important as it is to try to figure out why some succeeded, because success is, I mean, it has so much to do with timing and luck, and those are not things that you can quantify. Those are just like, I don't know. They're magic. They're magic things that you can't like make happen. I mean, I don't know. I've seen groups that have had like the most amazing, like just amazing management, and they've gone out on tour with like the coolest bands, and it's like, how is this not working for you? Like you have just been provided every single badass opportunity that you could have needed, and it's just not working.
Yeah.
The music not resonating, I guess. I don't know, or I don't know what it is, or people aren't connecting with the talent on stage. I don't know, but I don't know. And I don't know. It's interesting working at the Fonda too. Just seeing like the bands that come through. It's like a mid-sized venue, so it seems like bands either on their way up or bands on their way down. Yeah, and it was interesting. So interesting to be around it and see like the struggles and just sort of hear the conversations, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I kind of miss by not being either in a touring band. I mean, that tour with Jameson didn't pan out, or working at a recording studio anymore is kind of being of it.
Yeah.
Just being involved day to day.
Yeah.
Because now it's just me. But it feels that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like just a jaded old man a lot, just complaining about things. I think the whole like, I think that, like, I guess I call it like the American electronic music industry has done, has made a considerable impact on the music industry as a whole. Maybe more than people are like really giving it credit for. I mean, just being like a manager of bands is just, you're just not getting paid as much as if, I mean, Jameson probably could have got paid so much more if he would have just DJ'd or something, which, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I mean, there's a lot of people that it's working for them, and that's, again, I'm just like a grumpy dude, but I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, just in the festivals, festivals have become such a massive thing, and people want to save up and buy the festival ticket and not necessarily go buy tickets to see an artist on tour. Like, there's just I don't know.
I'm wondering about, you said streaming royalties.
Yeah.
Streaming royalties are notoriously low
compared to the profit margin from selling albums, but that's totally fine. There's plenty. People. I mean, I've seen the numbers. That was a significant part of income.
Wow.
And it is for everybody. And it's comparative. That's the whole conversation. And the major labels, no one should feel sorry for major record labels. They ruined their industry. They completely ruined it. They're 100% to blame.
Yeah. You're not talking sound exchange, or you're talking like from the distributor.
I'm talking from the distributor. Yeah, the money received from distribution is not. It's nothing. Any artist who's putting out a fair amount of music, streaming royalties, the money you're getting from your distributor is going to be it should be a significant part of your income, and if it's not, if you're not making significant money from streaming, then I don't see how you could be making significant money from anything. It sort of all goes hand in hand. I mean, if you're not making significant money from streaming, then you shouldn't be touring. I mean, I don't know who would be coming to your shows if people aren't streaming your music. And, then you go do shows and you sell your socks and your t-shirts and your physical CDs and vinyl, and you're making money from that. I mean, you have to be doing all of it. Right. In this day and age, you have to be doing you can't just focus on one thing unless you're some, legacy act.
Right.
You have to be doing everything. If any piece of the puzzle is missing, then you're not probably able to be a professional musician.
Yeah, you should check out that book, Song Machine. I'm surprised you haven't.
Song Machine.
I don't know if you like reading.
I don't know it.
But yeah, it's really good. There's a lot of good music books.
Yeah.
But, that one in particular is really kind of a behind the curtain account of a lot of artists breaking. Rihanna is really detailed.
Yeah.
So why, you don't have to, I don't want to get political, but so why did you stop managing? You said you're done all the way now, except for Miss World a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I had some like personal. I guess it's like a long time coming, and a lot of it wasn't like a one thing happened and I just decided to be done. Like it built up over time, and then I had a lot of like family members passed away recently, and some were like expected, and some was fairly completely unexpected and pretty tragic. And it just sort of made me be like, life is short. Like, we're all kind of assuming that we're going to live to be 85 or whatever, but you could go at any time, and so I just kind of got to this point where I was like, look, I don't really want to waste another day not being happy. And there was a lot of frustration from management just from things not working out, and not that, things should work out all the time. I'm not, it's not that. It's just, It would, I don't know. I really honestly felt like I probably had reached the end of my abilities. Like I was not singularly able to elevate any artist's career beyond a certain point. And the amount of work that I was putting in versus the, what I was getting out, not even financially, just I don't know, spiritually or whatever. It wasn't adding up, and I didn't want to. I just wanted, I don't know. I also had this weird, like, sometimes you get this like sage wisdom from random strangers, and I was in a Lyft, and this Lyft driver was like this overweight old guy, and he was talking to the passenger in the front, and he was like, I spent my entire life solving other people's problems, and I never took the time to worry about my own problems. And look at me now, I'm a Lyft driver, ha ha ha. And I was like, oh my God, I'm devoting all of my time to helping these artists, which is cool, and I love music and I love helping people. But I'm neglecting myself. I'm not actually like putting any time into.
Well, that's the thing about being a manager too. Is it's totally. It's really kind of a selfless relationship in a lot of ways. I feel like, because it's like, yeah, it is. I mean, you're. Yeah.
And then the other thing too, and I always
it takes
said,
a certain
like,
type of person for sure.
Yeah, it does. And I, just the whole organization stuff came naturally to me, and so I was like probably naturally like fit to do the job, but being organized isn't all that it takes. You have to be a cheerleader, and you have to be passionate about the product that you're selling. And I reached a point where it wasn't fulfilling to me personally. I mean, I still love everything that, Jameson in particular does. But I just wanted to like I don't know. I just felt like life is short. Like now's the time for me to do some things that I want to do. And I through this trip, through this tour that we were offered in 2015 to tour China, I just became fascinated with China and, started this like side business, managing Chinese social media for Western artists, and then learned a lot more from that. And that sort of like led to another opportunity, which I'm like super pumped to be focusing on full time. It's like inspiring and invigorating.
What's the lowdown on that?
Yeah. So it's a company called Lionshare. And they I guess in a nutshell, and this is like constantly sort of evolving because China is rapidly evolving with their music industry, because they don't have this rich history of a music industry like we do in the West. But we take Western talent and I guess the whole thing, you have to understand, like, China has a firewall. So when you're within mainland China, you're blocked from accessing most Western websites, Facebook, YouTube, Google, all that stuff. So we basically take Western talent, we set them up on Chinese social media. We have some very deep partnerships with the big gatekeepers in China. So we license video content. We utilize that content and the social media presence to drive traffic to e-commerce opportunities. So really trying to open up the Chinese market to the West. And
this one's been sitting on my phone. Obviously, I can't use it.
Yeah, Weishi. Yeah. Did I tell you to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a Tencent. That's an app. Tencent is there's three major tech companies in China. There's Tencent, Alibaba, and Baidu. Baidu is like China's Google. Tencent, Alibaba is like Amazon, and then Tencent is like Apple. So Tencent owns a number of social media properties instant messengers, video sharing. Weishi's like a Snapchat 10 to 20 second micro videos. They have, basically like a video sharing app for every length of video.
So did you get hired at this company, or you bought equity in it, or?
No, I actually, through my social media company, I got in touch. We reached out to this company to help us connect some dots, and I just developed a relationship. Not intentionally. We developed a relationship, and then they asked me to join forces because.
Wait, what's your social media company?
My company's called World One Social, and I honestly don't even. I know there's like other companies popping up that are offering social media management services for China, but that is just scratching the surface or scraping the surface. There's so much more that you need to do. Like if you want to engage the Chinese market, you need to consciously make that decision, and you have to put effort into it. You can't just effortlessly tap in and extract money from China. That's their whole thing, is they are their own entity. China's never going to westernize like the rest of the world has. China will always remain China. Mm-hmm. So you have to talk to those people. You have to, make a video and say a few words in Chinese and like show them that you care, And so just by
for artists, or is for anyone?
That's for anybody, any brand, any influencer, any artist, anybody. You can't just waltz into China and pull money out. It's not going to happen.
Right.
You're just, it's not even going to be worth it. I mean, there's like 1.4 billion people that we're talking about. There's 415 million millennials in China. It's greater than the population of the United States. It's massive. There's 70 cities in China, at least from my research, there's 70 cities in China that have a larger population than Houston, Texas, which is America's 4th largest city. So like, why aren't bands touring over there? That you could just tour China forever, theoretically, based on population, and there has to be, it's just that 70 cities larger than Houston. I mean, but then I don't know how many cities that they have that are larger than 100,000 people. It's got to be thousands, Mm-hmm. It's crazy. But yeah, you just, I don't know. You have to make that effort, and it's different. It's a different place. I think it's magical. I think it's incredible, and it's wide open. And the people that decide to make that effort to go there early are going to be rewarded. But, the other thing I love about China is I feel like it's so Wild West. And the thing I didn't like about the music industry is I felt like I was entering into this club, or this, I was playing this game and the rules were already set, and I had to play by the rules, and I had no say in the rules. And I don't really like that. That doesn't feel fair to me. And so China feels like a place where I can't make the rules there, but at least I can. I mean, I feel like I'm helping to build industries there, so we are getting to create systems, and we're creating these relationships. And to me, that's so fun, And there's a number of other companies that are in there doing great things. There's a company called Outdustry that's like, maybe is the most responsible or singularly responsible for any, music streaming royalties being paid at all. So it is, then I'd say we're kind of the ones in there on the video side of things. But yeah, I don't know. That's exciting to me. I feel like it's a new frontier. And, once China sort of gets going, there's plenty of other emerging markets. I mean, India, Nigeria, Pakistan, Indonesia. Indonesia's a crazy place. It's the 4th largest population in the world, stuck on an island. There's a ton of money there. nobody's really doing much there. You know, why not? So I don't know. I've always been intrigued by the entire world. I think it's crazy that we're all stuck on this rock and like acting like, I don't know, we're trying to retain ownership to our little like plots of land, and fighting over limited resources is like crazy to me, that we're not just all trying to figure out how to coexist. But whatever, I don't know. I'm a hippie.
So how much work is it? Like, do you own, are you just, what kind of work do you do day to day to run a international social media marketing company?
I mean, it's a lot of like, it's not even at the point yet where there are set structures in place, you know, because we're working with these companies that have never done things before. So it's not like, you know, you can go get a job in the music industry in the West and somebody trains you, and then you just start doing these tasks, you know, and they're repeatable tasks. I mean, there's still so much researching, there's so much, you know, communication, and you might get started on a project, and then, you know, the company realizes, you know, oh, well, we didn't know that was possible. Well, we want to do that. Oh, okay. Well, now let's shift gears and go do this. I mean, there's still a lot of that. So it's, you know, and meanwhile, you're trying to bring in clients because you need to earn money, but then you can't bring clients in too quickly because things are still changing, and you don't want to, you know, there's a lot of intimidation around doing business with China. The language barrier is crazy, insane, you know, more different than it is in most other countries. You know, it's a lot of different challenges, and it's really, I think the thing that I'm personally trying to do is just better understand the cultural difference, so that I can help manage the expectations of the Chinese client and the Western client. You know, I know the standards and the expectations more so of the Western clients. But it's also, you know, the Chinese market's volatile, but I can't just use that as an excuse all the time for Westerns. I can't, I'm sorry that things didn't work out. That's just China. Well, then people in the West are just going to give up on doing business with China. It's also getting the Chinese side to realize, like, hey, if you want to expand outside of China, you've got to Westernize a little bit, or at least like adopt some, you know, play by some Western rules. So it's just, I don't know, it's like being maybe like a ambassador or something, a diplomat, yeah, totally, diplomat. Yeah, it's fun. It's so much fun, but
it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
They've never been to China. They've been all over Europe.
I would you know, I don't know. I feel like if you were ever curious to like travel to another planet, you should just go to China, because it's just so different. But then also people say like, well, what's China like? And say, well, it's just like the United States, but completely different in every way. You know, I mean, the people in China love China just as much as Americans love America, and they've lived their entire life without having to think beyond their borders, just like we do here. You know, massive country, massive superpower.
Massive history.
Way more history than we have. And extremely proud of that, and very proud of their food culture. And, you know, there's like 52 or 56 dialects of Chinese language. So even within China, you know, if you go to Shanghai, people are speaking Shanghainese. And so if you speak Mandarin, you can't understand Shanghainese, and you can't understand Cantonese. And, you know, and there's not English. You're not going to go and see English in a restaurant. So ordering food is difficult, or just getting around is hard, and people don't know English. You know, and you can go anywhere else in the world and you can get by, because people are probably going to speak English. But, you know, Chinese people, they may speak English, but they're not going to like bend over backwards to help you out, just like we wouldn't, if a Chinese person tried to order food from you, you'd be like, I don't know. the saying words really slowly, it works everywhere else, isn't working here. It's just making people more confused.
If you spoke to me in Chinese very slowly, it would.
Yeah, you would still just be like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And no visual reference.
That's like your main focus now?
That's my main focus. And I started taking Mandarin lessons, and I really love it. And
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But it is exciting. It's like it's a cool thing because like every day something cool happens.
You should do you could start a Chinese podcast network.
I could.
That's what I need is a network.
Yeah.
To be on that feeds me big advertisers for this show.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a quick China buck solution for you. I don't know if there is one, but I mean the whole Weishi thing was a cool, it was a cool program, a cool app, and again it just sort of like, we were kind of tasked with like just get.
Are American artists making money on it?
On Weishi, no. Weishi became like people in China are making tons of money. I mean, yeah, people in China are making tons of money, but they sort of wanted to like, just the expectations of the type and quality of content made it too demanding on anyone like trying to casually enter the market via Weishi. But there's there will be other opportunities, and there's, always new opportunities there.
Huh.
But it's, they're in a rush for video content, just like anyone's in a rush for original video content here. Netflix or Hulu or whoever, everyone is trying to get as much original video content as they possibly can, and so is China.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder about some of the choices that show up on Netflix. There's so much terrible stuff on there.
Yeah, but that's, I guess that going back to the music thing, like distribution. Distribution is the most important step in any product. I mean, if you make beer or you make clothing, you've got to distribute it. And you've got to get with a distributor that gets it to the masses. And then you've got to market it so that the masses buy it. Because if they don't buy it, then the distributor's not going to distribute your stuff. And I think about music, and like, if you really wanted to look at music and think like, what is the consistent line throughout the entire history of humans making music? Well, the only thing that consistently, the thing that happened from day one till now is public performance of music.
Mm-hmm.
Before there was recorded music, you were only a professional musician if people paid you to perform.
Right.
So touring was the original professional musician, way to make money. And then it became possible to record that music and then sell that recording, but it wasn't easy to make a recording. So then you really had to be a good, making good music to let somebody or to have somebody allow you to use their recording equipment. And then distributing heavy physical goods, you weren't just there was limited shelf space. You're not going to just like carry around super heavy vinyl. It has to be good stuff. Then we shifted to tapes and CDs. I sort of wonder if maybe CDs was the advent of music quality declining, because I remember when I first got a 5-disc CD changer that let me program tracks so I could skip.
Right.
So then, then it kind of, maybe the music industry became about like making singles, as opposed to like making great full-length albums.
Yeah.
And
there's definitely a golden age of
but it definitely became cheaper and easier. It became cheaper to record music and distribute it on a physical format. And then when digital came along and you remove the physical portion of that, then it became super easy to distribute. And then you had home recording on laptops. So then you've basically eliminated all barriers to entry that were preventing bullshit from being distributed. Right. And now anyone can make music and distribute it. So there's no barriers to entry. Another thing that I feel like this is the one thing I remember from college.
Mm-hmm. But what you're saying is so in some ways, if you're going to reduce it down to something that it's just live performances. I don't believe you.
But
it's also where's the money? In any of those cases, all the decisions in technology and the way that people consume music or anything else is a lot of times based on what's paying.
But you can get paid good money from public performance. I mean, maybe that is, you're if you're a mid-range up and coming artist, I mean, you can get paid $30,000 to $50,000 to perform at a festival for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a great payday. That's probably your biggest profit margin of anything that you would do. So that really hasn't changed, but due to the elimination of any barriers to entry, you can't rely on just selling physical albums because there's such a saturation in the market of content that we've trained the music industry, the record labels, the major record labels trained their consumers to not value music. They ruined it by putting, one or two quality songs on an album and, raising the price of CDs up to $20.
Yeah.
They ruined it by being greedy. And probably, everyone involved, it's not like it's just the record label people. I mean, it's managers, it's the musicians themselves that weren't questioning it, and they were just loving, it's the excess, the 80s and 90s excess of the glamour, and just blowing money, well, the more you spend, the more you got to make to make it all back.
When you talk about
it's irresponsible
CDs and 90s excess, the image of Backstreet Boys and Millennium keeps popping up in my head. The cover of that CD.
Yeah, some really fantastic songs on that album. Though.
Yeah, it's a good. It's good, but it's it really encapsulates all of that because it was probably one of the highest selling CDs. And then the stuff with their manager, who was then put into prison for the Ponzi scheme. I forget the guy's name.
Yeah, I do too. Probably best. Shouldn't give him any credit.
But yeah, he was. It's exactly what it is. The '90s excess and selling little plastic circles.
Yeah. I don't even. What do you? When someone hands you a CD, what do you? I'm just why are you giving me your trash? I don't. What am I supposed to do with this? Can you recycle these? I don't even know if I can recycle it. And then I feel guilty about putting it in the trash can. Don't give me that CD. But still a lot of people buy CDs at shows. I'm amazed. People want to, if you're genuine and you put on a good show, the things that people would say to me when I would sell merchandise at Jameson shows, lives were changed. And I toured with plenty of other bands and nobody ever gave the compliments that people at Jameson shows gave. People want to give you their money. They're dying to spend their money. They want to give you as much of their money as they can possibly give you, but you have to give them something of value in return. And I think the best thing is if you put on a life-changing live performance, people will empty their pockets for you. Yeah. And it's an amazing, because it's cool to buy it's cool to buy vinyl because it sounds good and it's tangible and the art's big and it feels good in your hand. And it's better than a CD, and this, you know, CD's maybe better than, you know, CD sounds better than a MP3. But the thing that's better than vinyl is the live experience. That's a religious experience where there's a room full of people that are just like losing their minds together. That's an incredible thing. That's such an incredible thing. And, you know, it's why people love festivals, is they can take their Molly and like just go feel so amazing and incredible.
So do you have do you have a history of going to shows? Is there did you have some life-changing show that you went to when you were 10 or something that makes you think that? Because for me, my introduction to music was always the CD, and it's like this CD, every song's good. I don't know, like Dr. Dre's The Chronic or The Downward Spiral. Like those are CDs that are just like, wow, this is so important to me. But then whenever I would go to a show when I was around those, like an impressionable age, it was always an arena tour. Yeah. So it was never a really, Billy Corgan was that big when I was, you know, 13 or whatever. Yeah. So I never really got that until I was much older, where you're in, you know, obviously not a smaller club than an arena, and that this is, like, this is really intimate. Something I can feel, like this is great. Yeah. But, so I never felt that way about live shows.
Never, ever.
I mean, the best live show I've seen, it's a religious experience. I mean, it was...
What was the best?
What show?
Yeah, what was the most religious experience you ever had?
With music? Yeah. It would have been this December 2012 at Slim's. I saw Death Grips right after No Love Deep Web came out. Yeah. And it was just complete mayhem. Yeah. I thought I was going to die for a minute. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's heightened. Somebody pass out.
Heightened. Yeah. Wow.
But that to me came, like, I'm not as impressionable when I'm doing that in my 20s. Yeah. To have that relationship with a show.
Like now? Now you don't?
Yeah, like, right. Now it's ingrained in me to, like, what's the most important part, like, what's the highest form of music? Mm-hmm. To me, isn't necessarily a live show.
Yeah. It's an album.
Maybe I'm not, in a way, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's... you know, I guess all I can speak about is my opinions and experience, you know, and I don't know. That's to me, that's sort of my, I mean, I don't even like going to shows. I mean, honestly, I don't go to many shows because I'm lazy and, like, I'd rather sit home on the couch and, like...
Right. You got to be around people.
Yeah. But
I do like the idea, though,
of... the people and the, like, standing and stuff.
The standing, and, like, right. The standing serious. You know, you're standing before through the opener. You're standing in that break. Yeah. Then your back starts hurting.
You know, we had this is...
let me just say, though, that I do like the idea of elevating a live show. Mm-hmm. Like the challenge of putting on a really good live show is rad. Yeah. Because it's a challenge in and of itself.
What do you think about, like, putting on shows? You know, you can elevating live show doesn't have to just be the band, like stage dives and or crowd surfs and, like, they're spinning their guitars around their necks, but, like,
right.
We had this interesting experience in Shanghai where we played a show at 2 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, and it was great because we were all jet lagged, but the band actually, it worked out timing wise where they had energy and they were able to put on a good show and were personable and energetic and fun, but actually, you know, the crowd was made up of people, you know, I suppose like 21 to 30, 34 or something like that. I think everyone really appreciated it because it was it wasn't like late at night where you're fighting. Well, first of all, it wasn't late night, so you weren't, worried about going out on a work night. The show, you knew the show was going to get over early enough to get home in time to do whatever you have to do. You still had time to go out and get dinner with your friends if you wanted to. It just was so perfect, and that really made me think that well, maybe we should change the way that we do shows, change the timing, and I don't know, why not do a Sunday afternoon show in LA if you have a fan base that likely has to work on Monday morning? We'll do the show in the afternoon at a cool spot where maybe they can get dinner and see, present. Just think about the whole presentation in a different way. And if your fan base wants to chill and sit and smoke a joint, then let them chill and smoke a joint, sit and smoke a joint. Don't force them to stand up and sit through 3 openers. Have 0 openers. Have a DJ that plays afterwards. And so if people want to stay and drink, they can stay and drink. But make it, that's okay. So this is the thing. The thing was I remember from college was you have a triangle, picture a triangle. And on one point you have convenience. And on one point you have low cost. And on the other point you have quality. Quality. Okay. So time would go under.
I was thinking of the fast, cheap, and easy thing.
That's essentially what this is. But, so with this triangle, you have to pick 2. You can't have all 3. Right. It's very difficult to have all 3, but you have to have 2. So if you think about what the major record labels have chosen based on, just the decisions they made, they chose. And this has to do with consumer preference, but they've chosen low cost and convenience. High quality. Consumers do not care about high quality. They want convenience and low cost because if low barrier to entry, it's low cost, then I can participate and I can get in and I can consume this stuff and I like this. I don't like this. Go next. I like this. This is cool. Yeah, but give me the next. It's just next, because there is this oversaturation of content. So I think musicians should be aware of consumer demand, and you can't get frustrated if people aren't responding to your content based on how you're presenting it, or maybe you think that your content's not good because people aren't responding. You have to present it to consumers in a way that they want to consume it. And if you have an older fan base,
right,
give it to them the way that they're gonna take it. Yeah,
that's anything that's mass produced or is. You're going to lose the quality there for the cost and the convenience.
Yeah. I think
it's, I like going out of my way to, there's different types of customers, there's people who know what they want beforehand. They know what they want. They're going to come into the store. They're going to tell you what they want. You don't have to help them. And there's people that are cheap, people that are difficult.
Yeah. People just browsing. There's people that.
Right.
All sorts. And that is, that's an interesting thing that is an interesting tool that Facebook and social media provides you is you can create a profile on your fans and you can better understand them and distribute your content to them in ways that they prefer. So that, that can be, you are spamming people in a way, but hopefully you're doing it, you're savvy enough about it so that you're not annoying people and they appreciate receiving that offer or whatever. It's just you gotta be genuine. You gotta be genuine with what you're doing. I don't know, but I just the music industry now, the major industry, just reminds me of Walmart. Just feels like Walmart.
No, yeah, it does.
It's just cheap shit, tons of it.
Yeah.
No, it's not good. Who cares? They're gonna keep shopping. Just keep giving it to them cheap, and that was another thing that weighed on my decision to get out of music is you're not competing based on the quality of the art.
But on the other hand, they call it the doldrums, right? There's like a music journalist that was really big, and he came up with the idea of the doldrums, which is when the quality, of music waxes and wanes over the decades. But what was I going to say? But on the other hand, it's also like if you can weather a low point, those are a lot of the times, or even start in a low point.
Yeah,
those are a lot of times the strongest things. Like, because if you could make it through the Walmart of music right now, when it does come back, you'll be way better than the next guy.
Yeah.
I think that's the other side of it too.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, the longer you can stay in it, theoretically, it's because you've figured out a way to make money doing it, or making money from something else that still allows you the time to keep doing the music stuff, you know. And there again, if you just have a calling and a passion to make music, you don't necessarily have to figure out a way to just do that, because maybe you like doing something else, and maybe that pays the bills, and maybe it like allows you to earn enough to give you free time to make music. And then, there's one, I know there's like zillions of other people that, will appreciate that approach to music, because they're sort of like the 9-to-5ers as well, and again, that is a thing that social media allows you to find and target those people and create a fan base around. There's a niche. There's a niche for everything. And I just, going back to, Jameson is a professional musician. He weathered the storm. He sacrificed. He built it up. He is a professional musician, and he's barely scratched the surface. So if he continues on and he continues growing, then he will be a very successful professional musician, and there's no reason that anyone else can't do that. There's no special, like, it's just it's just doing it. The fact that he's doing it, and there's this.
Have there been like, you'd think someone in that position where they have kind of don't most people in that position partner with like a major distribution deal or something like that, where they take part of the publishing and they give you bigger sales?
Well, no, the distributor would never touch your publishing, really.
Like a distro deal with whatever
Capital.
But
see, the thing is, like, distribution has changed so much because it's less and less about distributing physical goods. You needed to have really good distribution back when people were buying physical goods and there was limited shelf space.
Yeah.
You needed to get on those shelves. But now with digital, what is a major distributor doing for you? I hope, maybe they're putting money into marketing, or maybe they've got these great relationships with Spotify and they're, getting you on playlists and stuff like that. But like, they're actually not really doing anything. I don't believe, and I've looked into this because we were under the impression that we needed good distribution, and we used TuneCore, and TuneCore is not the greatest. They're taking the least, so you're getting the least service, and that's a trade-off that you have to decide what you want to.
Maybe not even just a distribution deal. I just know that when an artist has a vanity label offshoot of a major, it's generally a distro deal.
Yeah, they would be distributing. But and see, that's the thing is, like, again, like, there's no. You could be a distributor if you know people at Spotify. Go distribute. Right. Go. Give them the content, give them the metadata attached to it, and hit them up and say, put this in, feature this. Mm-hmm. And that's what a distributor's doing. And then they're collecting, the payments, and they're dishing them out. It's not. There's no magic to distributing now. I don't think. Maybe there's.
So there's no major label magic bullet where they.
Well, I don't know. Look at what Drake did with Spotify. They took over that's probably not the distributor that made that happen. That's a combination of everybody involved and the combination of his like celebrity. But
you mean like the record-breaking numbers on Scorpion?
Sure, but I mean, the numbers were broken because they forced it.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what I was saying the whole time.
Yeah. So then I don't know. And even what he is doing is it really is hurting. It's helping him in the short term. It's hurting music in the long term, because now, Spotify streams were a metric that people use to gauge popularity, but that's the credibility of streaming numbers is so whack now that like that doesn't mean anything. There's any number of services, and I know, I'm not going to say any names, but there's record-breaking streaming artists that have paid for plays.
Yeah, I have no faith in that system. It's
like
that's part of the game.
Yeah,
it's
so again, who cares?
Marketing. Yeah. Paying for streams, it's considered part of the marketing budget.
Yeah.
It's not
But those artists are at the point where they're reaching the masses, and the masses don't care and they don't know. They don't know about that, and they don't.
It's a formality.
Yeah.
It's a formality in an overall, marketing plan.
Yeah.
You're not going to be a big artist if those numbers aren't there. So it's just part of it.
Yeah.
It's not, that's no surprise to me at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I still think
we kind of had this conversation before a few weeks ago, whenever that was.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, you really think Bieber has however many billion Twitter followers or whatever it is? Of course not.
Yeah.
But you can have you seen that thing, Twitter Audit?
Yeah.
And they have ones for...
Yeah, Trump didn't fare so well, I don't think. He was like 70-some%.
Well, they have a service that Trump used, a guy, I forget what it's called, but you can hire a crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Of people.
And they'll go like
they'll go do whatever you
tweet
want.
It at the same time. Yeah,
they'll go protest at your competitor. They'll go...
just go get on like, what is it, Brickwork?
Physical crowd.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can hire like a group of people.
And they'll just go.
Yeah.
Dang.
And a lot of, there's a whole bunch of stuff with that, with Trump, where a lot of the crowds are the counter protests and stuff, they're fake.
Wow.
They're people they're actors.
Fake news, man. That's fake news right there.
Yeah.
This is a fake news podcast. Don't tune in to this. It's fake news. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I interrupted you though.
No, I don't think you did. I probably kind of said, I just really appreciate this opportunity to pour my heart out.
Dude.
And get some things off my chest.
You're talkative.
It's fun. I mean, I am passionate about it. I don't know. I just think about this stuff a lot, and lots of like, not really sleepless nights, but during all of those years managing, like I was pretty much always thinking about like, what are we not doing? What should we be doing? What are we doing well? That was my life. So I am pretty passionate and can get talkative about this stuff because it's, it was sort of life or death in a way. Or maybe not, that's being a little dramatic, but like,
What's your
life or going and getting some other job.
Right. So are you still gonna be managing this one Miss World?
I'm helping her. I'd like to help her transition to somebody who's passionate about management. That this is sort of another sort of like.
And also, I play guitar, so if you need a
I've thought about that, and that probably will be something at some point. And we'll talk about that off air. But yeah. When people get successful in music, like when you've invested so many years in building your network, and then you get to a point where you're like, you broke an artist, and so now you've got your your system in place, you're really not trying to go back to square one with anybody else, because it's painful. Those are painful years of like making nothing, and so frustrating, and no one is trying to start over. You're trying to find things that you can plug into your system and run it through. And so, I mean, that's really another thing. I just, Miss World's incredibly talented and makes really cool music and content, but like just going in this, the social media takes the fun, like going through and like getting all the social media in order and like constantly. I don't ever want to do that again. I don't want to do it. I don't want to make another cover profile photo and make another whatever graphic for anything. Like, bleh. There's just too many. There's so many things. I mean,
yeah,
we forgot about Bandcamp forever, and then went and refreshed the Bandcamp, and oh wow, there's a whole community of fans on Bandcamp. And
really?
Yes,
Bandcamp's leaving money on the table.
Absolutely, you should be doing Bandcamp. You should be doing everything. You should be doing SoundCloud. You should be doing everything. And because you should be doing everything, it's just a lot of little work. It's getting those pennies and dollars everywhere, and it all adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just not. I just don't want to. I thought I'd want to do it, but I just didn't. I was like, no, don't want to do this. Don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's understandable. I couldn't imagine, Scooter Braun starting over.
Yeah, well, he's successful enough. He's got a whole army of people that are doing it for him. I mean, you got to develop. I mean, I look at like, I don't know, there's some managers that I've talked to that are like, yeah, artistic development doesn't matter anymore because you can just like artificially create hype around something and blow it up overnight. And I think the terms like breaking an artist and blowing up an artist are like these really loaded terms where it's like, well, what happens after they blow up? You've literally blown them up into a million pieces, and then it just showers down, and then like it's done. Or you break them, like you broke an artist.
Like
I've seen so many artists that like they were broken, and then they literally broke. Like they just were like, it wasn't. There's no foundation there to fall back on after you break. You've got to have a foundation and then regroup and then go break again. I've always thought those were like really funny terms to describe success in the music industry.
Yeah, it's kind of a buzzword.
Yeah. Curate's a buzzword. That was like I always try to identify the buzzword of the year. Maybe curate was last year. What's this one? Influencer? Maybe influencer is like the word of 2018.
That makes me cringe.
Yeah. Curate was last year. Curate.
Influencer. Cool. We covered some ground.
Yeah,
Adam.
That was fun. I feel like I just had a therapy session and it didn't even cost me anything.
It's got Healing Powers, the podcast. It does.
My gosh. Wow. Yeah. Thank you.
It's cheaper than I guess it's not really cheaper than a therapy.
No, it is. It's cheaper. Right?
It is?
Yeah, it has to be.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, unless you're sending me an invoice that I don't know about.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe, maybe my insurance will cover this. Probably not.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was cool.
All right. You've been listening to the Cameron Adair podcast made by me, Cameron Adair. Thanks to Adam. Adam isn't on social media, but you can get in touch with him online if you're interested in artist management or Chinese entertainment markets. You can support this show by throwing down a much appreciated $1 at patreon.com/Cameron_Adair or by writing a quick review on iTunes and by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.